Okay, good evening, beautiful people. This is your host, Matthew. Matthew Day and Night Podcast. We got another good one for you. I know this is the odd time. It's like what 2:30 in the afternoon on a Tuesday, the day before, not day before, but right before the holidays. But as always, it's posted on Wednesday on YouTube and also on Spotify. So again, I want to thank everyone that's been watching, that's continuing to watch, uh, the new the new subscribers. Thank you for joining. We just continue to ask you to like, subscribe, and comment the way you've been doing. So we got another good episode for you. We have another guest, and I just want everyone to bear with us because the last couple of ones been kind of focused more on like depression, mental health, and stuff like that. I feel as though that's not a topic that can be just kind of brushed over. There's a lot of experts and stuff that's out there. There's some people that believe they're experts and they're out here labeling people and, saying that people have this and that. So I felt as though it would be best in our interest, meaning me and Mark and the viewers also, to actually have people that actually experienced it and those that are actually experts, as meaning school trained and licensed. So today we have a guest. His name is, and I don't want to butcher it up, Asmund. Say solve mental health issue, but just bring a different perspective to everyone and just to show them a different way of dealing with it and how to deal with it. So his focus is more on energy levels. So I don't know where he's going with this. Um, Hopefully he explained it in detail, and I'm looking forward to it. So he should be coming on pretty soon. And as always, Mark will be with us on this Sunday. We'll be going live. So it's unfortunate he's at work, so he's unable to do these during the day when we have the guests and stuff like that. But the next couple of guests that we have coming on, he will be back. So just if you miss him, he'll be back. So I just ask you to continue to, like I said, just continue to share if you are. If you're not sharing, make sure you share. And again, please press the like buttons. It'll help the algorithm push it out to more people, in our episodes and shorts to be shown to more people, and more people will be privy to what it is that we have to offer. So again, this episode is going to be focused on the mental health and psychology part of it. So I'm not sure where he's going with this. Um, Hopefully, it doesn't lose anybody. I'm still currently studying psychology, social psychology. I'm about a year in. I had to take a break. My army funds ran out, so I got to pay for it out of my own pocket. So it's taken a while to get back into it, but I will finish it, and that's something I'm going to add to my toolbox. But psychology is big. Um, like I kind of talked about it last week. I don't know if y'all tuned in with the episode with Sheridan, and he's the Army vet that was in the Canadian Army, and he actually experienced quite a bit of trauma in his life. So I don't believe he's school trained. So, he's more or less speaking from experience. So the gentleman that's going to come on today, again, I believe he's school trained, not 100% sure. Hopefully he goes in detail with it and again, bring some good information to everyone and a different perspective to everyone. So if anyone is out there look at the screen to see what the questions are. So if you have any questions that you would like for me to ask, just go ahead and type it in the comment box, and I will be happy to ask him whatever the question is that you have. So for me, my little personal spin on mental health is I'm kind of back and forth with it. It was one point when I was really heavily into Christianity and stuff like that. And for those of you that went to church or that are still in church, I'm pretty sure that they believe that a lot of the stuff that some people deal with are spirits, and they may be possessed by demons or whatever the case is. To an extent, I used to believe that. I think people can be influenced by it, but to actually be possessed, that's another whole topic to talk about. So I'm currently studying and reading up on chakras, and that talks about the different energy centers that we possess in our body. Well, possess, but the different energy centers that we have in our bodies. And each chakra, starting from the root all the way up to the crown, deals with a certain type. Okay, so that's him right there. I'll go ahead and let him in. And we're going to get this thing started. Hey, how you doing? Asmund, can you hear me?
Afternoon, sir. I'm doing very well. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Same here. All right. Thank
All
you.
right, so I just have one question before we start. I don't want to butcher your name. So how do you actually pronounce your name?
It's pronounced Osmund.
Asmund.
Osmund. Yeah. It's a very, very unusual name. I don't expect you to have heard about it previously.
Okay. And your last name, how do you pronounce it?
Ruiningen.
Oh, I'm not even going to attempt it.
Listen, you can just call me by my first name. It's fine. It's fine.
Is it okay if I call you Oz?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, awesome. So I already did the introduction. I welcomed our viewers in to the
Sure.
Day and Night podcast. So I want to personally thank you for joining in and taking the time out in your busy schedule. So I'm excited to hear what it is that you have to present, because I read your bio and you said energy flow.
Yeah.
So I was talking to my viewers, like I'm heavily into energy, and I believe we're energy beings, and like the seven chakras, I was just talking about how I possess a different energy for each chakra. So I'm like really excited to hear what it is that you have to present. So I'm just going to turn it over to you, let everyone know who you are, what it is that you do, just a background as far as who you are, where you came from, and let's hear what your formula is.
All right. Thank you so much. Yeah, so like we just talked about, my name is very difficult to pronounce. So let's not bother with details like that, because that's actually taking away the energy, which I mean to bring to this show, really. So I'm 38 years old, or I should say young, or actually I like to say 38 years strong. I like to think of age as strength, right? The wiser, the older you get, the stronger you get, right?
Yes.
So my journey into energy and into what I'm doing began roughly, let's say, 10 years ago. I was pretty overweight. I was lazy. I was a slob. I was a couch potato. I really like to, relax, have a lot of chocolate, binge drinking sodas, and watching television shows and movies and all of that crap, really. So of course I gained a lot of weight, right? And my energy levels dropped to virtually zero, below zero, I'd say. I was really, really fat. So eventually, I went through a breakup. There was some debt involved, a house sale, whatever. Wouldn't need to go into that. But let's just say it was a rough stretch during my life. So then I started focusing on what is really taking away all of my energy. I mean, I know I'm out of shape. I know I'm fat. I know I should be training. So I started to fix that. And that's fine, right? I mean, energy, excuse me, in order to build up your energy levels, you must be in shape, right?
Right.
That's actually my starting point. Because you know how a lot of these influencers online, they're like, hey, work on getting your energy levels up, have this energy drink, and they're posing with some sort of lame ass energy drink, whatever. I'm not going to name drop any energy drinks for obvious reasons here, but let's just say there's a lot of scam and a lot of bogus and nonsense going on out there in the internet, right? Because I mean, I'm going to be honest. The best energy drink in the world is this. You can't see it probably because it's blurred out, but it's just water, good old water, right? And also black coffee. That's pretty much what I'm fueled with. That and ordinary healthy foods.
Okay.
So what I teach essentially is the more cultural, philosophical, and mental aspects of energy. Because I already assume that you have your nutrition, your sleep schedule, your dietary regimen, all of that stuff. I assume that you have on lock, virtually on lock, right? Because I mean, if you don't sleep properly, if you don't eat properly, if you don't work out properly, you ain't gonna get anywhere, right?
Right.
So I want to address the deeper issues. What causes people to sleep in during, in the mornings? What causes people to stop showing up at the gym? What causes people to stop working on themselves, their hustle, their careers, showing up for their kids, leaving sort of like their families and their lives behind? And I've found sort of like, I call them my 21 rules, if that makes sense. So I'm
Okay.
not going to go through all of the rules. I mean,
Right.
unless you want me to, of course. But I want to go through a couple of these rules, right?
Okay.
Because they're very, very important. Now, like I said, it all sort of like assumes that you have the basics on lock, the physical basics, the dietary basics, the sleep schedule, all that stuff, right? Now, before I dive into that, do you have any questions, sir? I mean, do you understand where I'm coming from? Is there anything that's currently unclear? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just lost you for a hot second, but I can hear you now.
Right. Yes, yeah. No, my question was simply, is there anything that's unclear? Do you have any questions for me at this point? Do you understand where I'm coming from with all of this?
Yes, I do. I'm just waiting to hear what these 21 rules are.
Okay, very good. So let's dive into a couple of them.
Okay.
I want to start by something simple as seeking out the little moments of joy, believe it
Okay.
or not, right? And I want to quote one of the greatest heavyweight boxing champions of all time and a personal favorite of mine, Tyson Fury, right?
Okay.
So he said, and I'm paraphrasing, by the way, he said, when we go to the graves, none of our possessions will matter. There's
Mm,
no Bugatti, there's no Lambo, there's no amount of money that will matter. All you will have with you are the memories that you create, the
yeah.
memories that you build, right?
Yes.
And think about that. If I create memories for a living, if that's sort of like my routine, if every day I wake up with the intention of creating just a small little memory, it could be, a tiny little minute thing, saying hello to a stranger, helping out someone, beating your personal best in the gym, just anything.
Right.
All of those memories, just both big and small, will accumulate over time.
Hmm.
And eventually that will be what you bring with you when think of your proverbial moment when you're on your deathbed. I mean, everyone, I'm not going to say everyone, but most people say, oh, I wish I did X, oh, I wish I did Y, oh, I wish I
Exactly.
did Z, right? Instead of
Yeah.
keeping on working on my career, keeping on in making money all the time. I'm not saying that money is not important. Of course it
Right.
is. But you know what I mean, right?
Yes.
There's
Yes.
more to life than just money. And those memories that you treasure, and that you, particularly those memories that you can share with other people, those are worth, literally worth. I'm not going to say they're worth dying for. Of course they're not, but they're worth living for, and they're worth building a foundational life for. Does that make sense? Do you
Yes,
understand?
perfect. Did you lose me?
No, I was just
Okay.
waiting for you.
No,
Sorry.
yeah, it works. It makes sense to me.
Yeah. So if you have that in mind, if you know that one of your life's goals is to create memories and build memories, both big and small, how in the world can you have low energy,
Right.
right? How can you not get up, up at, I don't know, let's say 6 in the morning every single day, right?
Right.
Because when you know that the intention is to create and build more energy, yeah, maybe the tasks, maybe the assignments, maybe the chores, whatever you have to do, maybe they're not fun to do in the moment. But I mean, come on. You're building energy. You're building the foundation for the rest of your life. How
Okay.
in the world can you not get up in the morning and burst with joy? Literally, right?
Right.
That creates energy right there. Because
Okay. So I
yeah, please.
just real quick, like for me, it makes sense because I talk to people all the time. I tell them when you wake up in the morning, depending on how you wake up, is how it's going to determine the rest of your day. So if you
Yeah,
wake up with positive energy, I believe the rest of the day you'll carry that energy throughout. But
yeah,
what about those individuals that's in certain environments to where it's like soon as they wake up, it's just negative energy. So how would you actually, I won't say convince, but how would you um, tell that person, okay, even though you're in an environment that may not allow you to just say, okay, I'm going to start off the day with great energy and allow my day to be, moved on with that energy. Because it
yeah,
sounds good in theory. Okay, just think of good things and move
yeah.
throughout the day with great energy.
Absolutely, and that's a very fair question. Listen, this whole thing is situational, right? If there are real problems in your life that you need to address, such as, I don't know, you're working a shitty job, you don't have much money, you don't have time out of the day to even create memories, then fix that first, right? Because I ain't gonna lie. We can all wake up and be like, yeah, sunshine, rainbows, whatever, and the rest of the day, everything falls down, everything is crashing and burning simply because my life sucks at the moment. That's fine. Fix your current life, because I forgot who said this, but it was a very, very good quote. Your end story hasn't been written yet. This ain't the final chapter of your book, right? Yeah, exactly, right. And I know what I'm sure you've been through some rough moments in your life yourself,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Exactly, right. But that wasn't the final chapter of the book in your life, right? But it's very easy to think that, especially during this day and age. You got this little thing here, the cell phone, social media, influencers beating their chests, and you sort of like you feel envious. You want to be like them. You want to drive around in expensive cars. You want to pop champagne bottles. You want to
Yes.
throw money up the air. I get it. That's fine. So go achieve it. It ain't simple, of course, but it
Right.
can be done. I genuinely believe it can be done if you pour your heart and soul into it. But you have to realize you're at a certain stage of your life. And that's why I want to be very, very clear about a couple of things here. If there are real problems in your life, like I said, if you're physically overweight, you're in bad shape, you're in bad health, or you don't have much money, you're in a very, very shitty and bad situation, you need to fix that first, right? Because those are energy killers 101.
Right.
And if that means working, I don't know, 3 jobs and, doing push-ups at home, eating rice and lentils and beans for a couple of months, whatever you have to do, then go do it, right? Because I mean, there's no need to gloss over the very very realities of life. We all have
Right.
to start from somewhere. That's also why I want to make it perfectly clear that if you're starting from zero, I'm not going to be able to help you. You need to bring
Okay.
something to the table first, right? Does that make
Yes.
sense? Do you understand?
Perfect. Yes. Perfect sense.
Exactly. Because I mean, I think that if someone approaches you and they don't have, they don't have a single sort of like accolade or thing or something at all to bring to the table, there's no plan. They're sort of like nothing. There's just a void of emptiness.
Right.
I don't think anyone can help that person, sadly, because you need to bring something to the table,
Yeah.
literally. I want to be very very certain about clear about that, right? So yeah,
Yeah.
the long answer to your short question is essentially this ain't the final chapter of your book. This ain't your swan song. It's just a shitty intermediary stage, and you will get through it if you really really want to.
I like that. Like that a lot.
Sure,
I
sure.
think, yeah. I say the same thing. I say this is my fourth chapter in my life because
Right.
I'm 50 years old. So, I'm getting closer to the senior age. So I say like I'm in the fourth quarter. I look at it as far as quarters. So I say
Yeah.
that the game isn't over yet. So I'm in the third, fourth quarter. So now it's time for me to pick it up and really start to knuckle down and really start living my life, the way I want to, because at some point, the story is going to end or the game is going to end. So why
Yeah.
not enjoy it now, put everything you can into it and just go for it?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, how about you? How about here's my suggestion for you. How about you say you're level 4 or level 5,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
You start off at level 1, then you build up to level 5 and so on, right?
Right.
As the gray hairs appear, as the wrinkles might appear in your face, the wisdom accumulates. That's what I like to think of, right?
Yes.
Because I mean, like I said, I'm 38. I'm certainly no spring chicken, right? I feel very young. I feel very strong. I'm slowly getting my first gray hairs, I think, right? They're starting to show. I just
Okay.
consider those wisdom
Wisdom.
points. Yes.
I like that. Wisdom.
Wisdom points, right? But to this regard, I'm sure you've experienced the same thing. I'm not going to say there's a lot of old people, but there are some old
Right.
people who, they might be old, they might be gray haired, or even, their hair might even be white, whatever,
Right.
or they've lost their hairs, whatever. But they ain't worth listening to. Why? Because they didn't
Yeah.
challenge themselves in any
Right.
regard in their lives, right?
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm sure you met some people. Certainly, I have. Right? I met these old, scared, worried, anxious people who become victims of their own thoughts. And
Mm.
that's another thing when it comes to energy, right? Because you
Yeah.
can't consider your thoughts the enemy. You just
Hmm.
said something interesting. You said, to people who wake up with negative energy in the morning. I don't
Hmm.
believe in negative energy. I believe in energy and emptiness, or I believe in zero and then energy.
Okay.
I refuse to believe in negative energy. As in when I am get invaded by these negative thoughts. Let's say I wake
Right.
up and oh no, I just realized that this whatever bill is due and I need to pay $500 today and it's going to eat really really. It's going to dig deep into my pocket and or excuse me, my wallet, and now I can't afford X, Y, and Z, right?
Hmm.
Well, I refuse to give that negative thought power. Instead, today I need to pay, I need to donate money to some whatever cause, and then
Right.
I can sit down and I can make that money back again,
Right.
right?
Right.
It might not happen today, but it could. Maybe it's
Okay.
going to happen tomorrow. Maybe it's going to happen in a couple of weeks, or maybe I get to discover a brand new way of making twice as much money. The point is, I refuse to give whatever negative thing that's currently in the moment infesting my thoughts. I refuse to give that power because
Right.
it eats and zaps away my energy. It's kind of like when I have a energy drink. Most energy drinks, to me, they're sugarized bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. I don't mess with them.
No, me neither, right? I mean, I think I've had one or two monsters in my life. That's pretty much it, right?
Oh my goodness.
Because, say again?
Now, I have a story about a monster. I'm a retired military. This is a
Right,
true story.
right.
One of my family members sent me, I think it was Monster, for a care package, and I had it by my bunk, and I mistakenly knocked it over. And then when I woke up the next morning, there was a hole in the wood. Ever since then, I have never touched energy drink in my. Don't do it. Won't do it.
I feel you. I feel it. I mean, that hasn't happened to me, but I just take a look at all, the calories and the so-called nutrients on the
Right.
label, right? It's just sugar. That's what it is,
Yeah.
right? And negative energy is much like this spike in your adrenaline levels, which you get when you consume an energy drink or a sugary drink, really,
Right.
because the insulin spikes and then you feel really, really motivated. Your
And drop.
heartbeat starts, beating faster and faster and faster. And then everything drops, right? And you feel awful, right? So why would you even consume something that sort of like fosters negative energy at all? Why would you do it? And, I'm not saying that this is easy. The concept is pretty simple, but the execution is difficult. Right?
Yes.
Because I can separate the negative energy from the actual situation. Like I said, with the bill that was due, it ain't easy, but it's totally doable. And I actually let you in on a secret. Most days I wake up and I don't feel motivated, right? Most days, but I still execute regardless of how I feel, of how my energy levels are. Because I know that if I start, it's kind of like, I forgot who said this, but it was a very, very wise way of describing this whole thing. The difference between emotion and motion is a single letter, E. If I remove the E from emotion, I'm left with motion, as in setting the wheels in motion.
Okay.
Right? It annoys me that I don't know who said it. It really does. It was some guy on the internet. So thank you to whoever said it. But it's a very, very good way of describing what I'm about to tell you. Because if I remove the E from emotion, I'm left with motion or action or execution or implementation, whatever you want to call it, right? And let's just be creative and say that the E symbolizes energy, right? So by definition, if I start immediately every single day by executing, by working hard, then my energy levels will gradually accumulate throughout the day.
Right.
So, currently it's 8:50 p.m. where I am, right? It's late at night, and my energy levels are at the highest. Right?
Yeah, I can tell.
Because I've been working all day, right?
Yeah.
And tomorrow, they're most likely going to reset, right? Or they're going to be lower for sure. So my point is simply, yes, you might feel like you have negative thoughts, but I refuse to acknowledge that there is something like negative energy to which you can give power. You can simply choose to not acknowledge it and to move on. Does that make sense? Do you understand where I'm getting from?
It makes perfect sense. I have one question. Because you come off as a real, high energy, positive individual. So would you say affirmations is a possible way? Because in theory, it sounds good. Because, I watch stuff on YouTube and you hear these motivators saying, well, just change your mindset.
Yeah.
And then some people are like, well, how do you do that? So I'm just curious, do you believe in
Yeah.
affirmations? That's something you do, or it's just purely you don't think about?
No, that's a very good question. I personally do not do affirmations as much as I do positive self-talk. As
Okay.
in, I genuinely believe I can fix this. I always have high energy, right? Those are the things that I tell myself, but I actually believe them as well. I guess I'm not saying affirmations don't work. To some people,
Right.
they might. I'm just arguing the case that if you want to say your affirmations, that's fine, but you also need to implement them. You also need
Right.
to execute. Affirmations need action. Otherwise, I believe they're essentially worthless.
Yeah, I
Right?
agree. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, I can say that, hey, I have high energy. Then I'm laying on the couch and I'm being lazy and I'm
Yeah.
feasting on chocolate or whatever.
Right.
Right? We can all do that. And,
Yeah.
that's fine. But what does it tell you about your affirmations? They're essentially worthless if that's the case. So,
Okay.
but yeah, to your point, yeah, you're just going to fix your mindset, blah, 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 blah. I agree. I agree. You just have to fix your mindset, but that's also the big challenge. That's why I also want to be perfectly crystal clear that I'm more of an energy coach than a mindset coach. If you have troubles with your mindset, your motivation, any sort of mental health issues, go somewhere else. Basically, that ain't for me, right? Because now I want to also say something else. I've been through a lot of mentally challenging to that, if I may use that expression myself. I've been through a lot of adversity. So I can give you the reason or the way that I came out or that I sort of like left my
Right.
mental health challenging situations. That's fine.
Right.
But the way I work might not work for you and maybe your listeners and everyone else. Right? Now,
Correct.
having said that, there seems to be this magical correlation between people who are accomplished and successful, and they're most, if not all the time, they're in good shape. They
Mm.
work hard, they train, they have their diet on lock, and they're most likely financially successful, right? That
Mhm.
seems to be a pattern, an overarching pattern. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but I've never seen sort of these motivational gurus or whatever you want to call them who are lazy, out of shape,
Right.
fat, sad, and happy, right? I
Yeah.
mean, maybe
Yeah.
there's a few, but I certainly wouldn't bother listening to such people.
Right. Yeah. That's like the oxymoron when you think about it. Yeah. But
Exactly.
come to think of it, I've never seen one. They're all high energy,
Yeah.
look like in good shape,
Yeah.
you know, probably good eaters, have good
Yeah.
nutrition habits. So yeah, I
Absolutely.
believe that. So that
Yeah.
that leads me to my next question because I'm highly into um, vibration of food and energy gives off a vibration.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like I do DoorDash sometimes on the side, and a lot of the restaurants I go to are fast food. And when you go to, I'm gonna say high end, but a more healthy um, place to eat, you can see the difference. Like literally see the difference in the attitudes of the people, the way they carry themselves, the energy, everything. And I
Right.
highly believe that some of it, not all of it, but some of it has something to do with what they're eating too, their nutritional habits.
Oh
So I'm
yeah.
just curious, do you believe that has an impact as far as someone's energy level?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would, and it's pretty funny you should mention that because when I used to be fat and, overweight, whatever, I would eat all the processed foods in the world, right?
Yeah,
Pizza, kebabs, tacos,
yeah. Hamburgers.
bagels, buns, whatever, everything, all the
Hmm.
crap,
Yes.
right? Essentially all the crap. And for whatever magical or mysterious or whatever reason, I would be low energy, right?
Hmm.
So there has to be some sort of correlation, and that also goes back to my sort of like my starting point. If you come to me and you're overall you're fat and you're out of shape, I'm just going to tell you to get your diet right, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
whether that means going keto or paleo or whole foods, organic foods, whatever, I don't really care that much.
Right.
Now, you just need to cut out that processed garbage. And I think
Mhm.
most, you of course know what I mean, and I would assume that most of your listeners know also what I mean, right? I think that most people in this nuke of the internet know precisely
Yeah.
what we're talking about, right? So yes, I absolutely believe in energy stemming from food, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. So yeah, very, very, very interesting observation, by the way. It makes total sense. I hadn't thought about that, but it makes
Yeah.
total sense now that you're laying it out that way.
Yeah. Because
Absolutely.
a lot of the processed foods and stuff has a lot of sugar in it, so
Oh
that
yeah,
automatically drains of your energy. You
yeah,
know.
exactly,
So yeah.
exactly. I mean, it's kind of like if you walk into any McDonald's or Burger King joint, you
Mhm.
can just see it on the people,
Yeah.
right? You can see it on them.
Yeah.
The ones who work behind the counter, obviously the clientele. It's just
Yes.
a very, very, for lack of a better word, I'm gonna say on the record, it's a toxic environment, a real
Yes.
toxic environment.
I say that all the time.
Exactly. Yeah, very, very, very good observation, by the way, and it goes back to what I'm saying about getting the basics or the fundamentals, whatever you want to call it
Okay.
correctly, because and when we're talking about energy, let's also mention sleep. Sleep is very, very important. I
Yes.
personally sleep 8 hours a night. I mean,
Wonderful.
occasionally I cut my sleep short, whatever. And here's also something I want to emphasize, because I routinely sleep 8 hours a night. I can afford to cut my sleep short and
Mhm.
still execute with maximum energy levels throughout the
Right.
day.
Right.
That's very, very important. Now, that's a key aspect that I'm teaching and that I want to emphasize.
Mhm.
Because if I wake up and my willpower is there, my willpower to win, key points, my willpower to win needs to be there. If I
Yes.
wake up and I've slept poorly and there's
Mhm.
no coffee in the house, whatever, right? I don't get my caffeine dosage of the day, whatever. And let's say that there's no food in the house either. And I need to get my workout done. I need to, whatever, start grinding on my side hustle. Then I need to, I don't know, go do my day job, whatever it is.
Right.
It doesn't matter because my willpower to win is there. And I'm going to accomplish something that day. Because
Okay.
most people, they use that as an excuse to not do
Mm.
anything that day. Oh, today I
Good top.
slept badly. So you can even feel from the get-go how
Mhm.
this day is going to turn out, if that's
Right.
sort of like the attitude that you're bringing to the rest of the world.
Mhm.
It's kind of like the Burger King McDonald's joint. It's just a toxic environment that you're spewing out.
Yes. Yep. Okay. So what are the some more of the 21 points that you say that you have?
Very good. Very good. Yeah. Let's go to number 2. That was just number 1.
Oh wow.
So yeah, we
That's a
we
lot.
don't have time to go through all
Okay.
20.
Well, let's give me a top 5 then.
Yeah, sure. Sure. I mean, they're all top 5. So that, or excuse me, they're all top 21. So that's gonna be
Okay.
the 5 first. But yeah, let's go to the next one. I'm going to assert that it is important to have lived through pain, misery, and suffering to some extent in your life. Because if you haven't done it, you don't know what comfort really feels like. You
Right.
don't know what it means to be okay. You don't even know what genuine happiness feels like if you haven't
Mm.
gone through some sort of pain or adversity,
Right.
right? Obviously, I'm
Agreed.
not talking about going through war or something awful, but getting into debt, losing your job, your girlfriend cheating on you or some sort, having your heart broken, whatever it is, right?
Mhm.
You need to have gone through it. Because if you haven't gone through it, you don't know what happiness is.
Right.
And it goes back to what you were saying. Well, those people who wake up in the morning and they have this negative energy. Well, if losing your job didn't crack you, if I don't know, getting fired from your job didn't crack you, if your girlfriend cheating on you didn't crack you, for instance, then what can crack you, really? Let's say you
Right.
were bullied. I mean, I was bullied. I was bullied for 11 years in school. Well, look
Right.
at me. It didn't crack me. They
Yeah.
failed. I won. How the hell can you feel negative energy if you've gone through a lot of adversity and pain?
Hmm.
Right?
True.
And here's
But
something else. I'm going to use the horrible feeling of pain and misery to fuel me and motivate me to work on whatever boring or difficult or
Mhm.
whatever task it is I need to do through the day. Because the need to overcome this adversity, the need to sort of like land on the other side, the
Mhm.
need to to become happy and
Right.
to stay in a happy and uplifting place is greater
Hmm.
than the need to remain sort of like at status quo, if that makes
Right.
sense.
It does. Now, if you don't mind me adding, I believe having a good support channel has a lot to do with that as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Because I mean, you need people around you, whether that's your friends, family, whoever is, colleagues at work, who can support you. Absolutely. So,
Mhm.
seek out like-minded people is what I like to say. Whether that's in
Yes.
your gym, your I don't know, your job, your Bible study group, well, whatever it is.
Right.
Just go somewhere and seek out people, especially people who are on the same path as you, who have the same sort of like mindset as you,
Hmm.
who work to essentially become the same.
Right.
Because let's say you're grinding your 9 to 5 job and you want to become financially successful.
Okay.
There's more to gain, in my opinion, if you reach out and you find someone online
Hmm.
than staying together with your colleagues at work who are
Right.
content at work in their same old boring job, and they I don't know, they go to the bar for happy hour every Friday and they watch some lame ass football game and they're all refreshing their social media, bragging about how they used to play football back in their college days. Right?
Right.
I mean,
Right.
as opposed to a community online of hungry, aspiring entrepreneurs who are working to become financially free. That's what I would argue, especially in 2023. And
Yes.
I'm going to use myself as an example. I know people from, I belong to certain groups online where we talk about making money and so on. I know people, or I met people from all over the world.
Hmm.
You're based in America. I'm based in Norway. I have a difficult to pronounce name,
Right.
right?
Yes, you do.
Exactly, right? But it feels like we're having an honest and we are having an honest and genuine and very entertaining conversation, and it
Yeah.
almost feels like we're in the same room, but we're
Right.
not. We're an
Right.
ocean apart. I'm halfway around the globe. It's late night where I am. I'm speaking in my second language because English isn't my first language.
Okay.
So I would assert that it's more important to find people who are on the same who have the same goals as you, even if it means for some time being confined to your phone or your laptop. That doesn't mean to be antisocial or to tell everyone to fuck off, right?
Right.
But it just means spending the majority of your time and your energy, of course, on people and around people, even if it means digitally, even
Right.
if it means spending your digital time and energy, so to speak, with people who are on the same path as you. Because you can do a Zoom call, right?
Right.
If I
Yeah.
have a friend in, I don't know, South Africa, I can just do a Zoom call with him, right? And we can
Yeah.
grind, we can talk about issues, challenges, wins, everything that we want to discuss,
Right.
and we can work together. And hopefully one day we can meet in the flesh, and it's going to be an even greater time.
Right.
Does that make sense? Do you understand?
Yes. I just want to run something by you real quick.
Sure.
Like I said, I'm retired military. So I
Right.
have a theory or a solution, if you want to call it that. I believe that every young adult should serve at least 2 to 3 years in the military. Because I know Germany used to do it. I don't know if they still do because I was stationed there. And to me, it gives that young adult a different perspective on life, to learn different cultures, and it expands their environment because you're exposed to different things. So then you will, in my opinion, you will look at your situation differently because you're exposed to somebody else's lifestyle and culture that may be harder than yours. And then you have to reflect because it's like right in front of you, like, wow, I thought I had it bad. So I think that allows the individual, if they're receptive to it, to look at it and say, okay, I should be more appreciative. And then I believe that will allow them to learn how to be more energetic and be happy because, in my opinion, certain places in Europe don't have the same experience here. So it's a little bit easier to wake up and have that lively or full of energy because the things that they're exposed to maybe someone is exposed to something in, say, Africa or the Philippines or Guam. So I just believe if that's global, and they allow their young individuals to go travel around the world, it would bring a different perspective to their life and their experience. That's just something I thought about.
No, I agree. I agree totally. Absolutely. Because I mean, I was in the military as well.
Awesome.
Yes. No, I know exactly what you mean. Because you get thrown into this difficult situation. You have to work together with people you don't really know. You
Exactly.
know, you're a long way of, you know, you're far from home. All of a
Mhm.
sudden, there's a rifle or a gun in your hand,
Right.
and you're supposed to go on patrol, or
Mhm.
you're supposed to do reconnaissance work, or whatever, right? Or even if
Right.
it's just raising a camp tent and guard
Yes.
that camp
Yes.
outside in the woods. And for that matter, it's, I don't know about your particular part of America, but in Norway, it gets really, really cold and dark during wintertime.
Yes, we had missions over there. We had training exercises in
Oh,
Norway.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know. No, I agree completely. Absolutely agree. And you know, let's say that someone is physically disabled, whatever. So you
Right.
can't do ordinary service. Well, at the very least, you can work in camp. You
Yes.
know, whatever it is. But bottom line is, you should work to support your nation, your community, your culture, that whole thing. Absolutely
Right.
agree.
Okay.
Sadly, there is no draft, there is no mandatory
Right.
military service anymore, but there used to be way
Yeah.
back in the day
Yeah.
during the Cold War, after the fall of the Soviet Union. I believe when I first was in the military, that was on the cusp of the draft getting abolished, sadly. But I wish that they personally reintroduce it. And
Yeah.
also fund the military more because it's pretty sad. It's getting
Right.
defunded. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, they can't afford doing exercises. They can't afford new equipment. All that kind of crap.
Right.
Which is, you know, when you think about the regional conflicts going on around going on in the world, that's
Mhm.
pretty ironic if you ask me. But
Right.
that's a different topic.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, fully agree. Because that also teaches you something about maintaining your energy levels high in the
Yes.
face of adversity. especially if you're working together with other people, or you're supposed to work together with other people who aren't motivated or
Right.
who don't want to do things, right?
Right. Yes.
Absolutely. Very good point. Very good point. Because I mean, and I sort of feel like you could extrapolate that attitude to your online community if you have one. We're all a squad in the military, and we're working together as a team to achieve something. Because you can't do it possibly all by yourself. At some point, you need help. Whether that is hiring a VA or teaming up with someone else to work or on something, or paying for a consultation just to receive feedback on what you're doing, or appearing on a podcast like I'm doing now, or hosting a podcast like you're doing, right?
Yes.
You all need to work together in tandem somehow. So yeah, very, very good point. Very good point. Absolutely. Amazing. Yeah. So shall we go to number 3?
Yes.
Oh boy. Let me see. This is gonna sound a little bit difficult to explain, or excuse me, this is gonna sound a little bit weird. I'm gonna explain it to the best of my capability. But it's gonna be a little bit sort of like woo-woo and out there. But there is a reason why you have emotions. Remember what I said about emotion and motion?
Yes.
Right? That doesn't mean suppress or deny your emotions, because that's dangerous. I mean, unless you're a complete psychopath, you do have emotions at some point.
Right.
You can be sad, you can be happy, you can be worried, you can be anxious, you can be fearful, whatever it is. You're never neutral when it comes to emotions, unless you're, like I said, unless there's something significantly wrong with your with the inside of your head. Right? So instead of suppressing them and denying them, acknowledge that they are there in the first place, because it's only going to give you more energy.
Right.
And I want to be very, very cautious when I'm describing this person, because it's someone that I know very, very well. And for privacy reasons, I'm not going to reveal their name or their relation to me, whatever. But let's just say someone I know, they're very, very emotional, but they always get things done.
Okay.
And there's power in that. Because if I'm emotional and I spend a lot of time being emotional and sort of like showing off my emotions, but I still get things done in spite of my emotions, I wield a superpower in my mind.
Right.
Think about it. Oh, today I feel sad, so I can't work. Fuck that. Oh, today I feel sad and I'm still going to work.
Right.
It might look dumb, but think about it. Your emotions don't have any power over you. You have power over the emotions, and that gives you massive energy.
Okay.
Because who says that you need to be happy and smiling all the time? Oh, sunshine and rainbows, whatever, to be energetic. You don't, in my opinion. Because that's what a lot of these online gurus, gurus online and influencers and whatever, that's what they want you to believe. That energy equals smiles and happiness. It doesn't. Right? I can be, and the same thing goes for entertainment. I can entertain you with, with a political discussion, and you will be entertained. Maybe it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be amusing, but you're still going to be entertained.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. I see that.
And by the same token, I can be entertained by the need to work hard to make money, by the fear of losing my job, so I need to perform, otherwise I'm getting cut the next time they have a performance review in my company, or whatever else, or the threat of, let's say I'm in a boxing match, I'm in a boxing fight. I can be entertained by the threat of getting knocked out unless I keep my hands up and defend myself. That's also being entertained, and that's being entertained by your emotions.
Okay.
But it doesn't mean smiling and being happy all the time, right?
Yeah. People do equate that with being high energy.
Say again?
I said a lot of people do equate that with being
Oh,
high
yeah.
energy and smiling and laughing and
Yeah. I mean, and by all means, when you are smiling and laughing, you are being high energy, by all means.
Okay.
But it's the other way. High energy doesn't mean you have to smile and be happy all the time.
Right. But that's what I meant.
Yes, exactly. And that's a very, very important thing we need to, or I believe we should distinguish from, from what being happy and being high energetic or being high energy really means, right?
Yes.
Because no one walks around every single day smiling all the time, right? Maybe there are days between every time you smile or laugh. Maybe. And that's fine. As long as you're working to improve yourself, as long as you're getting somewhere. Right? Do you understand what I mean?
It does. Again, just real quick.
Sure.
I was about to go on a deployment, and there was a soldier. He was highly religious, and this guy literally smiled from the time he got up to the time he went to bed. They did not deploy him because they said he was crazy.
Okay.
Smiling always.
Yeah.
He never had like a sad face or anything.
Right. Well, blessed be that guy. I'm sure he lived a happy life. And there are exceptions to everything, right? I mean, for that matter, I'm religious myself. I am, but I'm not gonna. But I ain't smiling all the time. Like I need to be a little bit serious because there's something about if you're smiling all the time, the value of your smile gets devalued somehow.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, right? Because that guy's smiling all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, your smile doesn't mean anything,
right?
Because you're smiling even though there's no apparent reason for you to be happy. So how do I know that you're really, really happy?
Yeah.
So there's the counter to that as well. But I mean, by all means, if you found God or some other deity, then good for you, I guess.
Right.
Very good. Yeah, but like I said, do not suppress your emotions, but rather acknowledge them. They're that important.
Okay.
So we already so that was number 3.
Right.
So number 4, I didn't briefly touch on it, but I sort of touched on something that was related to it. There are a lot of people I see online, especially on Twitter or X, Instagram, social media, whatever. They feel the need to relocate to a different country, like going to a different continent. Southeast Asia, Latin America, Eastern Europe, all that whole thing. And that's fine if you want to do that. But if you're not well on the inside, if your energy is still low, it doesn't matter because you need to start where you are. Mm-hmm. If you're low energy and you want to move to Brazil because, in Brazil it's going to be much better, beaches, hot girls, whatever, nice weather, all the cheaper cost of living. Does it matter if you're moving to Brazil or not? No, it doesn't, because you're low energy still.
Right.
And it's going to be even worse in Brazil than it is where you're currently at. Believe me. Because you're moving there and you're sort of like your reasoning for moving there is, if I move to another place, it's going to automatically fix all the issues on my inside. No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you shouldn't go there. By all means, if you want to relocate to Brazil, be my guest. I mean, I've never been there. I would like to go sometime. I'm sure it's nice there. But if you think that Brazil and the weather and all of that stuff is going to cure you or fix
Yeah.
your inner mental issues first, you're in the wrong. It's
Right.
going to do, I believe it's going to worsen it actually, because
Mm.
you're moving there and you have these high expectations and you think that, oh, just because I go to Brazil, I'm I'm going to be high energy. And then you realize, well, that didn't help at all.
Right.
And now you're really, really struggling because, you sort of like,
Mm.
maybe you gave up your whole life back home from wherever you are from. Maybe you quit your job. Maybe you left, maybe you burned some bridges. I'm not saying that you should, but there's a lot of people who who do that.
Right.
And now it's all messed up on both ends. So fix yourself first. Fix the inner energy first before you move somewhere else.
Mm. That's good.
Because you're thinking about this as sort of like a long-term solution, but it's really not. It's maybe it's going to be good for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, maybe, but then gradually reality sets in, reality bites, and you're left behind to your regular thought pattern. So basically, fix yourself first, and then you can fix the world. But then you can sort of like go and explore, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Very good. And then I believe we have time for number 5 as well. Top
Yes.
5.
Let's get this last one in.
Yeah. And that is there's a book I read. I forget the name of the book, unfortunately, but massive credit to the book. Shame I don't remember the name of the book, but whatever. You have the right to say no to anything. Because you don't own your family or your friends anything. You're born with a right to say no. You're born as a free human being. That doesn't mean, even if they're your friends and your family, that doesn't mean they have the right to cling on and and become sort of like virtual leeches on your arm. It doesn't mean that you should allow them into your life if they're displaying parasitic behavior. Oh, she's my sister. Oh, he's my brother. That's my mom. That's my dad. If they're ruining your life, if they really are ruining your life, then walk away. There's something called the blood of the water is thicker than, the blood is thicker than water.
Yes.
But that's I forget the full quote, but it's something like, what is it? The blood of a brother's bond is thicker than the water of the womb, or something like that, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. I always heard just that one version that blood is thicker than water. You never hear the rest of it.
No, and that flips the script entirely.
Yeah, it does.
Because the blood of, and this being a former military guy, the brotherhood formed in the military, right?
Yes.
Shared suffering. That's much thicker than if you have a brother or a sister.
Yes.
And they're totally on a different planet. They're on a totally different life path than you. Why would you even bother? I mean, I'm not saying to disown them. I'm not saying to sort of like, I'm not advocating for estrangement, but I'm just saying, why would you invest your time and your energy into those people? And why would you allow them to zap and drain you of your energy? Right?
I agree 100.
Yeah. Because I mean, it might be difficult. Maybe your culture dictates that you should, keep close ties with your family. Maybe sort of like you're from a place or from a background where family ties are important. That obviously makes the situation a lot more difficult. But just ask yourself: is it worth it to be low energy and walk around like a black hole every single
Right.
day, like this vortex of being drained energy wise. Because I know what I'm talking about here. I know a lot. Well, I don't know a lot of people, but I know some people who are close to me.
Mhm.
Again, I want to be very, very. I want to keep this very, very vague for the sake of privacy. But let's just say I know people who are close to me who are essentially energy vampires. They're
Right.
draining me of my energy. Why would I spend time around them? There's no need to. Maybe once, I don't know, once a quarter,
Hmm.
I don't know, once a month, something like that.
Right.
But why would you allow other people to ruin your life, even if it is the very people who are responsible for your birth? It's a difficult decision, but let's say your mother is driving you nuts and
Hmm.
crazy, and she's a bad overall influence on your life. Why aren't you walking away? At the very least
Mm.
for a little while. Why? Think about
That's
that.
another that's another whole topic.
Yeah, I
We can
know.
talk about that for another hour. So.
That's a rabbit hole in and of itself.
Yes, it is.
It is. It is. But essentially, it's all about, excuse me, eliminating the energy vampires
Hmm.
around you in your immediate surroundings, especially those who are close to you, like your family and friends and so on. Because nobody should own the right to dictate your life, even though you know, even though tradition or culture or custom dictates that you're supposed to have close ties. Absolutely no one.
So let me ask you this question. I don't know if you have
Sure.
children, but from what I've seen, a lot of people I know, a lot of parents are held hostage by their children because they want to be labeled that terrible parent because they are disassociating themselves with them children because, like you just said, they can be extremely low energy or toxic, but because that's their child, they tend to hold on to them. And I can just see they're just being zapped.
Yes.
They're not living a happy life.
Yeah. I mean, let's just say hypothetically, I had children, and let's say there were 12, I don't know, 14 or 15 or something in their teens, and they're starting to sort of like become this grown human being.
Hmm.
I'm going to be like, look, I realize I don't have the same sort of authority over you now as
Right.
when, I don't know, as when you were 5, for instance. Because now you're on your phone all day long. You're being influenced by all of this garbage and junk online. But still, I maintain a set of principles, and I'm walking a certain road. I'm
Hmm.
walking a certain way in life. And I'm going to influence you to the best of my capability.
Yes.
If you don't want to listen to me, that's at your own cost and your own peril.
Hmm.
But once again, I can't say because I'm not in this situation, but hypothetically, if I believe that if I'd done a proper job in the earlier stages of life, once again, entirely hypothetical, this would be less of an issue
Right.
as the child grows. But once again, the same thing applies to your children, obviously. If
Right.
your children if your children are a sort of like source of negative energy,
Hmm.
and maybe you are you're beholden to them, you're responsible for them, that's fine. You just don't need to spend all your time on them.
Right.
I mean, you need to feed them, you need to guard them, you need to protect them. I'm not saying walk away from your, because children are a responsibility unless your
Right.
parents,
Right.
excuse me, unlike your parents.
Right.
So yeah, it's a very complex issue, and I'm not a family coach, so I'll just say do a good job from the very beginning when you're raising your kids, and I believe this is going to be less of an issue. But once again, this is life, and nobody can predict what's going on or
Right.
what will happen.
Exactly. Okay. So with that being said, again, I thank you for joining, and it went by really quick. I
It did.
enjoyed it, lots to learn, and maybe we can link up again in the future and we can finish the
Absolutely.
rest of them or
I would
cover
love
a
to.
different topic.
Would love to. Thank you.
So just before you leave, if you could just give the viewers, if you have any books out, if you're doing any speaking engagements via Zoom or online, just give the viewers information of where they can find you and what you have coming up, future events.
Absolutely. So I'm going to make it really, really simple. I have an email list where I drop daily tips on energy. You can follow me on my email, and if you would kindly post the link to my email list after this interview, I would greatly appreciate it, because the name is a little bit difficult to pronounce. It's
Okay.
related to my real name, but I will send you the link. And if you could kindly post the link below this interview, then I would greatly appreciate it. Because join me on my email list. Every single day, I'm sending out a new email with tips, tricks, and everything else regarding to energy.
Awesome. All right. Sounds good. All right. So I'm going to let you go. You get some sleep, since you said it's probably what, 9, 10:30 over there now?
Yeah.
I know you got to get your 8 hours in.
Of
All right.
course.
So,
Always do.
all right.
All right.
You be good,
Thank you,
sir.
sir. Thank
All
you.
right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, there we have it. That was Ashman. I'm not going to attempt his last name, but I want to thank those again who joined us. Like, subscribe, comment, and I will have that link posted on the video. Probably not today, but Wednesday, when it'll be posted again next week. So everyone, enjoy yourself. Enjoy the holidays. Don't eat too much. Be careful when you're out there. Keep your surroundings safe. Keep the right people around you. Remember, your thoughts becomes your belief, and your belief creates your reality. All right, y'all be good. Peace.